Captain Elias Voss stood on the bridge of his ship, the Pathfinder, gazing into the endless void of the Forbidden Zone. The dark expanse stretched before them, a silent warning against any who dared trespass. But orders were orders, and this time, the Galactic Council had chosen humans to investigate the mysteries lurking beyond the stars. Voss couldn't shake the feeling that they were being used as guinea pigs. "Captain, you sure about this?" Lieutenant Zara Finn's voice broke the silence, steady but laced with an edge of unease. Zara had served by his side for years, her quick wit and sharp instincts making her invaluable. But this assignment felt different to both of them. Voss kept his gaze forward, his jaw set. "No, but I don't think we have a choice. The Council's sending us in blind, probably hoping we'll report something useful before they pull the plug on us." Zara frowned, her fingers tapping lightly on the console. "Blind feels about right. Sensors are already glitching. Whatever's out there, it doesn't want us seeing it." She hesitated, glancing at him before adding, "Why do you think the Council never sent their own ships in?" Voss considered her question. The Forbidden Zone was notorious, rumored to be a graveyard of civilizations that had vanished without a trace. But no one knew for sure why humans were forbidden from this region. The Council's directive had been vague, urging caution, without elaborating on what that caution might entail. "Maybe they know something we don't," Voss replied finally. "Or maybe they're as clueless as we are and just don't want to risk their own." His tone was colder than he'd intended, and he caught the flicker of worry in Zara's eyes. The ship's AI Mira chimed in, her voice a dry monotone that often seemed to carry a hint of irony. "Captain, scans have detected an energy field approximately 1 kilometer ahead. Data is inconclusive." The hesitation in Myra's voice was unsettling. The AI rarely wavered, her calculations precise and unyielding. "Inconclusive? That's a first," Zara muttered, her fingers tapping nervously on the console. "What kind of energy field are we dealing with?" "Unknown," Mira replied. "Composition does not match any known galactic phenomenon. Proceeding with caution is advised." Voss glanced at the data streaming across his screen, a chaotic mess of erratic signals and interference that made no sense. He felt a chill creep over him, a quiet, nagging voice in his mind whispering that they shouldn't be here. But they were too far in now, with no clear way back until they completed their mission. "Full stop," Voss ordered. "Hold our position here and keep monitoring the field. I want real-time updates, Mira." The AI responded with a crisp acknowledgement, and the Pathfinder stilled, engines humming quietly as the crew held their breath. Outside, the darkness seemed to press in, as though the Forbidden Zone itself were watching them. Then, without warning, the ship shuddered violently, lights flickering as alarms blared. Zara's hand flew to her console, her face tight with concentration. "We're being pulled, some kind of gravitational force. It's trying to drag us in." "Mira, reverse thrusters," Voss barked, gripping the railing as the ship trembled under the strain. "Divert all power to the engines." "Attempting to counteract gravitational pull," Mira replied, her voice strained as if fighting against an unseen force. "This field appears to be targeting us specifically. This level of precision is highly unusual." The ship lurched again, and Voss felt his stomach drop as they were pulled closer to the dark center of the field. Panic flashed across Zara's face before she steadied herself, her voice a determined edge. "Captain, we need a plan now." Voss's mind raced. They'd trained for anomalies, but nothing had prepared them for this. "Mira, can you calculate a path around the field's edge? If we can skirt it." "Calculations underway," Mira interrupted, but her voice faltered again. "Captain, I advise caution. The gravitational force is increasing exponentially. Maneuvering may not be feasible." In that moment, a flash of light erupted from the center of the field, illuminating the bridge with an eerie glow. The crew shielded their eyes as the light took form, coalescing into a distinct, alien shape, a shimmering sphere pulsing with strange, rhythmic energy. It seemed to watch them, almost sentient in its movements. "What in the world is that?" Zara whispered, her voice barely audible over the hum of the ship's struggling engines. Voss didn't answer. He couldn't tear his eyes from the sphere, his mind racing with questions. Whatever this was, it was unlike anything they'd ever encountered. A silent understanding passed between him and Zara. They were dealing with something ancient, something that had waited in this void for centuries, possibly millennia. The sphere pulsed once more, and a low, rumbling sound vibrated through the ship. It wasn't a random force. It was a warning, a clear command: leave, or face the consequences. Captain! Myra's voice was subdued, almost reverent. I advise immediate retreat. But Voss's voice was steady as he replied. We're not leaving yet. Whatever this is, we're seeing it through. He took a deep breath, his gaze hardening as he stared into the depths of the alien light. And as the crew braced themselves, the Pathfinder drifted closer, pulled by the silent call of the unknown. The Pathfinder drifted ever closer to the luminous sphere, the ship's engines groaning under the relentless pull. Captain Elias Voss held his ground on the bridge, his gaze fixed on the pulsing entity outside. It radiated an eerie intelligence, as though it recognized the intruders, and was deciding their fate. Captain, we're at the threshold, Lieutenant Zara Finn reported, her voice tense. Her fingers danced across the console, analyzing the incomprehensible readings flooding the screens. Whatever this thing is, it's interfering with everything. Communications, navigation, even Myra's struggling to process it. The ship's AI chimed in, her tone subdued. Interference is intensifying. Core systems operating at 70% capacity. The energy field appears to be dynamic, adapting to our countermeasures. Voss took a steadying breath, forcing calm into his voice. Mira, any way to disengage from the pull? Uncertain, Mira replied, hesitation uncharacteristic in her voice. This force exceeds conventional gravitational theory. Calculations are incomplete. Voss exchanged a glance with Zara. They'd trained for unknown anomalies, for cosmic phenomena beyond standard protocol, but this felt different, personal, almost targeted. He caught the flicker of doubt in Zara's eyes, her usual confidence shaken. We're not backing down, he said firmly. Let's see what this thing wants. Before Zara could respond, a low hum filled the bridge, growing in intensity. It reverberated through the walls, vibrating the floor beneath their feet. The lights flickered, casting an eerie glow over the bridge as the hum morphed into a deep, resonant voice, ancient, layered, as if 1,000 voices spoke as one. You are trespassing in hallowed space. The voice sent a shiver down Voss's spine, but he kept his expression resolute. This is Captain Elias Voss of the Pathfinder. We were sent by the Galactic Council on an investigative mission. We mean no harm. Harm is inevitable where understanding is absent. The voice responded, each word heavy with foreboding. You stand on forbidden ground, unaware of the danger your kind awakens. Zara's eyes widened, her voice a strained whisper. Captain, this thing knows us. It knows humanity. Voss's mind raced. Forbidden ground, danger, they were words layered with history, hinting at a past he didn't understand. The Galactic Council's mandate echoed in his thoughts, its vagueness suddenly feeling less like oversight and more like intentional obfuscation. Who are you? He asked, his tone steely. And why is this space forbidden to us? The voice paused, the hum fading into a heavy silence. For a moment, Voss thought they'd been abandoned to the void. Then the lights dimmed, and images began to flicker across the bridge's viewing screen, a shifting tapestry of stars, battles, and dying planets. We are the wardens of the Veil, the voice declared. Eons ago, before the Council, there was a war, a cataclysm beyond your species' understanding. Those who fought here wielded powers too great, too reckless. We preserve what remains, holding back what you cannot control. Zara gripped the console, her knuckles white. And what is it you think will awaken? We've done nothing to provoke you. Your mere presence is provocation, the voice replied, echoing with sorrow and warning. Humanity is driven by curiosity and ambition, a fire that consumes. Here, that fire risks igniting what lies dormant. Voss felt the weight of the words pressing down on him. There were stories, legends about pre-galactic council conflicts, tales dismissed as myths by his instructors. But standing in the presence of this ancient entity, he could no longer doubt them. "Then tell us how to prove ourselves," he said, voice firm despite the knot of anxiety tightening in his chest. "If we pose a threat by being here, let us earn the right to leave unharmed." The silence stretched, a breathless pause that felt like the entity was considering his plea. Then, the humming resumed, slower, almost contemplative. "Very well, Captain Voss. Your trial shall be of restraint and understanding. We will release your ship, but you must choose. Venture further into the veil and face its truths, or turn back now and preserve your ignorance." Zara looked to Voss, her face pale but determined. "Captain, this isn't just about us. If we go deeper, we risk stirring up something that the Council buried for a reason." He nodded, understanding the weight of her words. But the spark of curiosity and the relentless need for answers burned within him, pushing him forward. Turning back meant leaving with nothing, bowing to the Council's secrecy. That wasn't in his nature. "Mira," he commanded, his decision made. "Prepare all systems for deep field exploration. We're moving forward." The AI's voice was even, though it carried an almost imperceptible edge of trepidation. "Acknowledged, Captain. Initiating systems check." As the hum of the engines grew stronger, the ship began its slow, deliberate descent into the unknown. Outside, the sphere pulsed brighter, its light flickering like the heartbeat of something ancient and alive. "Captain," Zara murmured, her voice barely audible. "Whatever we find out there, I just hope we're ready." Voss gave her a nod, steeling himself for what lay ahead. They were crossing a threshold into territory shrouded in silence and secrets, a journey with no guarantee of return. And as the ship drifted deeper into the forbidden zone, he couldn't shake the feeling that humanity was on the brink of awakening something older, and far more dangerous, than anyone could fathom. The Pathfinder cut through the darkness, its lights carving narrow beams through the thick, tangible void. Captain Elias Voss scanned the bridge, his gaze settling on the flickering monitors displaying hazy readings. Every inch they moved deeper into the forbidden zone seemed to distort reality around them, bending time and space into something unrecognizable. "Captain, we've lost all external comms," Lieutenant Zara Finn reported, her voice barely masking a hint of fear. "The field's interference is off the charts. At this rate, we're completely cut off from the Council, and everyone else." Voss's jaw tightened, his fingers gripping the edge of the command console. He had known the risks, but hearing it stated so plainly made the isolation feel almost suffocating. They were alone in uncharted territory, facing powers they couldn't comprehend. But retreat wasn't an option, not now. "Mira," he commanded, voice steady, "can you run another scan? I want a full environmental analysis. Anything that can give us an idea of what we're walking into." The AI responded immediately, her tone cautious. "Running diagnostic. Stand by." Zara leaned closer to Voss, her expression grim. "This isn't like any anomaly we've studied, Captain. It's almost alive." She paused, searching his face for any trace of doubt. "Are we prepared for what that might mean?" Voss met her gaze, his resolve unwavering. "We're here to uncover the truth, Zara. Whatever this field is, it's guarding something. And if the Council feared it enough to keep us out, then it's exactly what we need to understand." The bridge lights dimmed, and Myra's voice returned, softer, as though the AI herself were wary of disturbing the silence. "Scan complete. There is an energy signature approximately 3 kilometers ahead. Composition is unique, unlike any known element. The readings suggest it is emitting both gravitational and electromagnetic waves in patterns, almost rhythmic, like a pulse." Voss's mind raced, considering the implications. A rhythmic pulse, a deliberate signal, perhaps? Was this field a warning, or was it calling to them? Zara broke the silence, her voice thick with concern. "Captain, whatever's out there, it might not want visitors. We're already trespassing. What if this is a trap?" Before Voss could respond, the ship lurched violently, as though gripped by an invisible hand. Alarms blared, and the lights flickered wildly. The entire bridge seemed to shudder, the hum of the engine straining against an unseen force. "Mira!" Voss shouted over the chaos. "Status report. Gravitational pull has intensified exponentially." "Attempting to stabilize," Mira replied, her tone strained, almost as if she too felt the weight of the force. "Warning, system integrity at risk. I recommend immediate evasive action." Zara's face paled. "Captain, we can't keep going like this. If we're pulled any closer, we'll be crushed. Whatever's ahead, it's not worth losing the ship." But Voss's gaze was fixed on the viewport, where the darkness parted just enough to reveal a faint, pulsating light in the distance. It was the same light they'd glimpsed before, but now it seemed closer, almost beckoning them forward. "No," he said, his voice low but resolute. "This, whatever this is, it's showing us the way. We're following it." Zara opened her mouth to protest, but something in Voss's expression silenced her. She'd seen that look before, the look of a man who would not be swayed, no matter the cost. Nodding reluctantly, she turned back to her console, adjusting the ship's course toward the light. The ship advanced, inching closer to the pulse as the oppressive force around them intensified. Every sensor on the bridge flickered erratically, the readouts a chaotic mess of fluctuating data. Yet, through it all, the pulsing light remained steady, an anchor in the swirling unknown. "Captain," Mira spoke up, her voice unnervingly quiet. "We are approaching the core of the anomaly. Preliminary analysis suggests the presence of artificial structures embedded within the energy field. They resemble ruins." "Ruins?" Zara repeated, her brow furrowing. "How could anything survive out here?" Voss's pulse quickened. He couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the verge of something monumental, a discovery that could rewrite everything they thought they knew about the galaxy, and perhaps themselves. "Take us in closer, Mira," he ordered. "Let's see what these ruins hold." The Pathfinder pressed on, the gravitational force pressing harder, as if the field were resisting their advance. The air on the bridge grew thick with tension, the silence punctuated only by the hum of the struggling engines. As they neared the ruins, the pulsing light intensified, casting strange, shifting shadows across the bridge. The structures came into focus, towering obelisks carved from dark, iridescent material that seemed to absorb the ship's lights. Symbols and intricate patterns lined the surfaces, telling a story in a language lost to time. "Captain," Zara murmured, her eyes wide as she took in the sight. This isn't just any ruin. It looks like a temple." Voss nodded slowly, a sense of awe settling over him. The temple seemed to resonate with a silent power, ancient and untouched. It was as if they had stumbled upon a relic of something sacred, something meant to be hidden from prying eyes. But just as the thought crossed his mind, the pulsing light flared, blindingly bright, and the ship's systems went dark. Alarms shrieked as the Pathfinder was engulfed in a wave of energy, powerful and unyielding. "Mira!" Voss shouted, feeling the ship buckle under the force. "Get us out of here!" The AI struggled to respond, her voice distorted. "Captain, unable to comply. The field, it's overriding all systems." And as the waves surged around them, a deep, resonant voice filled the bridge, ancient and full of authority. "You have come seeking knowledge, but knowledge has its price. Do you accept the burden of truth?" Voss clenched his fists, determination etched on his face. "Yes. We're here for answers, whatever the cost." The voice seemed to consider his response, then fell silent, leaving them in the throes of darkness as the wave of energy receded. The Pathfinder was left adrift, hanging in the void, awaiting the test that lay ahead. Captain Elias Voss felt the weight of silence pressing down on him as the Pathfinder drifted in the void, suspended in darkness. The sudden absence of the hum of engines and the usual hum of lights only amplified the intensity of the ancient voice's question. "Do you accept the burden of truth?" Zara Finn, tense and silent beside him, cast a glance at Voss, her expression mirroring the uncertainty and quiet resolve in his own. He gave her a small nod, reaffirming his decision. They had come too far to retreat now. Who are you? He called out, his voice echoing in the darkened bridge. What truth do you speak of? A soft, pulsing light appeared before them, forming a figure, an ethereal, translucent apparition clad in flowing robes, its face hidden beneath a deep hood. The entity's presence radiated an age-old authority, like that of a judge who had seen countless ages pass. We are the custodians, it intoned, each word vibrating through the ship. We safeguard knowledge from reckless hands. Humanity has been kept from this knowledge, bound by ancient laws of the Council, for fear of the choices you might make. Zara swallowed, her voice trembling but resolute as she spoke. What choices? We've done nothing to provoke, whatever this is. The custodian turned its gaze toward her, though its face remained shrouded. Your kind's history is one of ambition, untempered by caution. In the early days of your ascent, human actions nearly tore the galaxy asunder. The Council agreed to bury certain truths from you, sealing the Forbidden Zone as a testament to those choices. Voss clenched his fists, a flicker of frustration boiling within him. So we're judged by the mistakes of our ancestors? We're explorers, not conquerors. We've come here to understand, not to destroy. The custodian regarded him, its expression unreadable. If understanding is your goal, you must prove your wisdom. Knowledge comes with responsibility, and the willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. Without warning, the bridge dissolved into a different scene. Voss found himself standing in a massive hall filled with towering relics and sculptures, each etched with the language of civilizations long gone. Zara was beside him, eyes wide as she took in the vast, ancient space, while Myra's presence felt distant, almost muted. Where are we? Zara whispered, awe and trepidation mingling in her voice. The custodian's voice resonated from all directions. This is the archive. Here lies the record of countless worlds, histories that echo with triumphs and tragedies. To inherit this knowledge, you must face a trial of your own history. As the words faded, a massive projection appeared in the center of the hall, showing Earth during a time of war, conflicts, environmental devastation, leaders who wielded power carelessly, and humanity teetering on the edge of collapse. The vision shifted to scenes of unity, of humans coming together to rebuild, to heal their world, yet always on the precipice of repeating their mistakes. Zara inhaled sharply. They're showing us. The worst of us and the best. The custodian spoke again, its voice softer but no less imposing. Humans have a unique spark, a relentless drive that can either create or destroy. This duality is why the Council fears you. You can bring light, but you are equally capable of casting darkness. Voss felt a pang of anger rise in him but pushed it down, focusing on the custodian's words. If you've kept us from this knowledge out of fear, why allow us here now? What's changed? The galaxy faces new threats, the custodian replied, its tone grave. For too long, the Council's rigidity has stifled growth. Perhaps, humanity has changed. You seek to understand rather than conquer, yet the choice lies with you. Will you accept the weight of knowing that it may change the path of your kind forever? Voss took a deep breath, understanding the gravity of what he was being offered. Knowledge had always been humanity's greatest tool, and its most dangerous weapon. But without it, they were forever stumbling in the dark, shackled by the Council's decrees. He glanced at Zara, who nodded, her eyes steely with resolve. They were in this together, bound by the same drive to push forward despite the unknown. We accept, he said, his voice unwavering. If there's a risk in knowledge, it's a risk we're willing to take. The hall dimmed, and the apparition of the custodian seemed to regard him with something like approval. So be it, Captain Voss. Humanity has chosen to carry the weight of truth. The archive will be open to you and your descendants, with the understanding that wisdom is the only safeguard. The light flared, and in an instant, Voss found himself back on the bridge of the Pathfinder, the familiar hum of the ship's systems returning. Myra's voice came through, her tone calm yet with a hint of wonder. Captain, systems are fully operational. It appears we have been granted access to data files of the Forbidden Zone. Zara exhaled, a mixture of relief and disbelief in her expression. So, they're giving us everything? Voss nodded slowly, a sense of profound responsibility settling over him. Yes, but with a price. We've inherited a legacy, a chance to guide humanity's future with eyes open. The Council's shadows can no longer hold us back. The Pathfinder turned, leaving the enigmatic field behind as they prepared to chart a new course. They returned not just as explorers but as custodians of a deeper truth, a truth that would demand every bit of courage and restraint they possessed. And as they sailed back into familiar stars, Voss understood that their journey had only just begun.